Shalom sahabat yang dikasihi Tuhan Yesus. Puji Tuhan kita bertemu kembali dalam kasih-Nya. Negara seorang Murtadin yang sangat terkenal di dunia ini sahabat, yaitu Brother Richard, mengalami gempa, yaitu negara Maroko. Ya, kita doakan sahabat dimanapun Bapak Ibu Saudara berada, doakan supaya Maroko cepat pulih. Kabarnya ada 2000-an orang yang meninggal, itu data beberapa hari yang lalu. Sekarang saya nggak tahu sahabat ya. Ya memang katanya terus meningkat, bertambah orang-orang yang meninggal, yang tewas gitu, menurut dari beberapa media yang saya baca. Ya, negara Maroko ini begitu terkenal ketika Piala Dunia kemarin. Ya sahabat yang terkasih, menurut data negara Maroko ini berpenduduk 99% adalah Islam. Sebagaimana yang saya katakan di awal tadi, ini adalah negara seorang Murtadin, seorang keluarga imam yang sangat terkenal di Maroko ya, akhirnya memilih Yesus Kristus sebagai Tuhan dan Juru Selamat mereka. Dan ya memang mengalami pengusiran juga ya akhirnya di Maroko. Nah, kesaksiannya begitu luar biasa sahabat. Murtadin ini tidak ada yang tidak mengenal sahabat. Hampir semua orang kenal Murtadin ini karena beliau ini pernah dicari-cari oleh kelompok-kelompok radikalisme. Bahkan nyawanya ditawarin dengan harga yang fantastis. Kenapa dia dicari-cari sahabat? Karena terlalu banyak memurtadkan orang-orang Islam. Melalui media, melalui televisi, beliau ini sangat aktif sekali memberitakan kabar baik. Bahkan tidak segan-segan juga langsung terjun ke lapangan memberitakan kabar baik. Melalui buku-buku, tulisan, media-media, beliau ini, Brother Rashid, selalu memberitakan kabar baik, sehingga banyak iman saudara kita sebelah tergoncang karena pelayanannya. Ya, makanya saya katakan beliau ini adalah seorang Murtadin yang sangat terkenal sekali dengan latar belakang yang tidak bisa dikatakan Islam KTP ya. Namun sepak terjangnya sangat ditakuti oleh mereka-mereka yang tidak menyukai kekristenan. Baik sahabat, kita tonton videonya terlebih dahulu bagaimana kesaksiannya.
My name is Rashid, I'm Moroccan. I am a former Muslim. I used to be a Muslim in Morocco for 19 years. Then I converted in 1990, and I have lived in Morocco as a secret believer for Christ since 1990 until 2005. I did a lot of stuff with the Bible Society, translating the Bible, distributing the Bible inside the country, and I even started a project to translate the Quran to the Moroccan dialect. Now I work in media, and I do shows for Middle East and North Africa and try to explain to them what is the differences between Christianity and Islam. And so far we recorded more than 77 live episodes, 1 hour and a half each, and 55 episodes for another show taped, all comparing Christianity and Islam. I was raised in a Muslim family, very traditional, very conservative. My dad is an imam. He's still an imam in a mosque until today. And my grandpa also was an imam. My uncle was an imam. So all our family members are really devout Muslims. And I was raised at 6 years old. I memorized 1/6 of the Quran. I started going to the mosque at the age of 4, and I learned all the prayers at the age of 4. I did the washing and everything at the age of 4. And I was raised as any other Muslim. I respected Islam, and I loved my dad, and I was going to be his successor. And but it didn't work out that way. God had a plan for me, and one day I was hearing about Jesus Christ in radio. Then I started correspondence courses for 4 years, and that led me to accept Christ in my life. Islam is the same as it was 1400 years ago and today as texts. we're talking about text. People talk about moderate Islam, talk about political Islam, talk about fanatic Islam, and different names of Islam. But when I was raised, I never heard these terms, and my dad never taught me there is different kinds of Islam. There is one Islam. There is differences, for example, between Sunnah and Shia, but those differences are not in the main core of Islam. So, for example, let's talk about jihad. Jihad exists in Shia and Sunnah and everywhere. So there is no moderate Islam and a fanatic Islam. Islam is always the same and always will stay the same because texts are the same, they never changed. And in my country, I lived 32 years in my country. I never heard these terms. It just these terms are really wide in the West, but not in our countries. As Muslims, we used to look at the West as a representative of Christianity. For example, in Morocco, we look at France because we were occupied by French. So we look at Christianity represented in France, and so many Moroccans, so many other Muslims in other countries look at United States as a Christian country. So whatever they see on TV, whatever they hear about Americans, that's what is Christianity. When I was like studying the gospel, I thought I'm going to find like they drink wine, they commit adultery, they go with girls and a lot of stuff. Like the gospel encourages them to do that because that's what we see in movies, and we think that's what is Christianity. And always like my dad and other people around me, they always encourage us to think about the West as Christians, not as Westerns. As Muslims, we used to look at, and still a lot of Muslims in the Muslim world look at it this way. It's Islam against Christianity and Judaism. They don't look at it as like it could be a country against country or politic against another politic. It's Christianity against Islam. They think we have like a conspiracy theory. It's in our blood. We believe that the whole world is against Islam. They are trying to convert us. They are trying to use politics to defeat us, because they are jealous of our Islamic great religion. So that's how we think about the West. We take it always religiously. It will never be politically or anything else. We look at it from a religion point of view. So whatever America is doing, for example, in Iraq, we look at it as a religious issue. What is doing in Afghanistan, because they hate Islam. That's why they are doing it. So this, our glass, is how we see the world. It's through religion. I think the American church should be like more involved with the Muslim world. What I see, the American church is less closed about itself. It's not reaching to Muslims. Even in the United States, I have seen so many churches, they don't know anything about Muslims. They are not trying to reach them. They are not trying to build bridges between them and Muslims. And the same thing applies to the Muslim world. Like Middle East, North Africa, they have nothing shared with them. They don't want to help them get out of that. I see Muslims as victims. I look at my family, for example. I see my dad, he's not a terrorist, he's not a bad person, he's like everybody else, but he's a victim of his own religion. And people who explode themselves, they are not bad guys, they are just thinking they are pleasing God with what they are doing and what they are thinking. They want to please God. They want to do something right for the sake of their religion. So they are victims. We need to help victims to get out of Islam. And what I'm doing and what others are doing to help them, like we're trying to provide them alternatives, like Christianity, for example. It's a very good alternative for the Muslim world. And I believe personally we cannot counter Islam, because Islam is a religion. We cannot counter a religion only by another religion and give them, compare to them, and let them choose. In the Muslim world, they don't have freedom of religion. They don't have even freedom of thinking. They cannot question Islam. They cannot dare even raise questions about Muhammad or the Quran. It's considered as apostasy. So we will encourage them to question, and the American church should be involved in that process, either by helping local believers, like in Morocco, in Egypt, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia. We have secret local believers too, in Kuwait, in different countries. So we need to enable them, give them tools, give them whatever is available to help them reach to their own brothers and sisters in their countries. I believe we need to join forces and work together, because nobody has like a unique solution. Nobody has the resources to do it by himself. So that's why we need you to help us and be involved in a very active way to help us to reach to the Muslim world, because it's the task is very huge. The task is bigger than everybody. Nobody can do it by himself. So that's why I'm asking you to be involved in a very active way. Help us, enable us, and be a part of what's going on in the Muslim world today. In like 10 years ago, we didn't hear about many converts in the Muslim world. Today we hear about thousands and even millions. In Egypt, for example, we hear about more than 2 million converts in Egypt. And that could not have been done if some people didn't join forces and resources to reach to the Muslims in Egypt, for example. So that's why we ask you to be a part of what's happening now in the Muslim world. I'm doing what I'm doing personally out of my heart, and I'm doing it. I always, when I sit in front of the camera, I imagine my dad. I'm talking to my dad and my mom, my brothers and sisters. And always when I pray for them and think about them and think about myself, if I didn't have this opportunity through radio to hear about Jesus Christ, would I be here today? Probably I'm one of those terrorists or who exploded themselves, because I like God and I want to please Him. So I always look at it this way. I pray always for my family, and I try to reach to my people, my own people, with my own heart. It's very hard when I think about them being victims of Islam. And I just want you to feel what I feel toward my people. I want to help them. So I want you to help us, help them get out of what they are suffering. They don't have any other options. They don't think they are wrong. So we need to show them that they are wrong in a respectful, loving way, and very bold way too. We don't change facts. We don't tell them lies. We say it boldly with love and respect.
Ya sahabat yang terkasih, kita sudah menonton kesaksiannya, luar biasa sahabat ya. Tuhan Yesus memberkati kita semua. Tetap semangat, tetap memiliki roh yang menyala-nyala. Dan lagi saya katakan, doakan negara Maroko supaya cepat pulih dari gempa. Tuhan Yesus memberkati kita. Shalom.